Hey, so I'm going to take you on a tour of my orchard. I'm calling it an orchard because it's got apple trees and cherry trees or bushes or whatever they are. The previous owners of this property had started to build this out, and I decided that it was a pretty good space and I wanted to use it kind of the same way they had intended. So this is an overview of the orchard space. I think that was a compost pile in the back. And I'll just start with what's here. So this is an Evans sour cherry. Previous owners planted this, so I decided to keep it. I've added landscaping fabric and mulch to help retain moisture. Started adding more landscaping fabric to create walking paths. Alaska is so lush, the grass and everything and the weeds all grow very quickly, so I'm trying to at least keep clear paths that I can walk in since I'm not here all the time to maintain it. Here's another tree that they planted. This is a Malus Red Splendor Crab Pink. So this is a pink crab apple tree. It makes nice flowers in the spring. I don't know if it'll be productive as far as making some kind of fruit I can use. I don't know too much about it. I'll have to do some research. They planted a row of irises along the front, which is pretty nice. Some of the irises haven't fared too well. They've gotten overgrown by weeds, so I've had to add little drippers to help them try to grow. This, I have no idea what it is, but it's not dead, though it kind of looks it. I'm just going to let it do its thing and see what happens. Here we have yet another, I don't know, cherry or something. There's a tag somewhere that I can't find anymore. But anyway, it looks nice and healthy. I pruned out some dead growth. And then more irises. That iris was so overgrown with weeds, I ended up running over it with my mower. It's already grown back. It was mowed totally flat to the ground, and now you can see it's grown a foot in the last week. Now we're getting to the plantings I've done. So these are some more apple trees. They are called Higher number 12 or Hayer number 12. I'm not sure how it's pronounced, but they came from a local nursery, and they should be pretty nice trees. $100 a piece. Two of them. This one's already got some apples on it, which, they're not gonna. This isn't going to be productive or sort of useful for fruit this year. The recommendation is to pick off, 3/4 of the new apples in the first year, because it's just taking energy from the plant that it could be using to grow more leaves and branches. And today I planted 2 more apple trees. This one is a Honeycrisp. This one, I don't know what it is. I didn't plant this. This came with the house. It wasn't in great shape, but I've watered it and mulched it and, given it some attention, pruned off some dead branches, and it's leafing nicely, so hopefully it'll grow well this year. Then over here we have a Norland Apple. Norland. And again, mulch, drip irrigation. Got these Rainbird poly dripper lines. This area here where I've got the ground kind of cultivated, I have to work on this some more, but I'm going to throw some pumpkin seeds and other junk in the ground and just see what happens over the summer. Since I won't be here to tend it, anything that comes up is a bonus. If it doesn't, I'm not invested in it. It is what it is. Then I've got quite a bit of open space over here. You can see I've got a tarp in the middle. I'm trying to kill off some of the weeds, covering it with a nice dark tarp and letting it get heated up, and the sunlight can help kill that off and make it a little easier to tend to. But anyway, that is our orchard. Hopefully we'll be able to make this a pretty productive space. We've got a lot of space, and I think we could grow a lot of fruit back here, and either sell it or eat it or can it or do whatever we want with it. That's the orchard. I took you on a tour of the orchard, and now I'm going to give you a little show and tell of our garden. I'll walk in here and give you a little look around. First thing you come to when you come into the garden is 3 big rows of strawberries. Each of these rows is probably 25 feet long or so. I haven't measured, but I've kind of walked it out, and it seems to be about 25 feet. They look like pretty healthy plants, nice and green, lots of flowers. We added a ton of this weed blocking fabric. Again, this place gets really overgrown really fast because of how fertile the soil is and how much rain Alaska gets. It's very different from Colorado, where we've been living. It's quite amazing. The next spot is the raspberries. We've got 3 rows of these raspberries. They're a thornless variety. I don't know what variety. Again, all of these plantings came with the property, and we've just done what we can to try to maintain them. These need a little tending too. I need to string up some new cord and probably add some more T-posts to help corral these berry bushes in. These grow canes every year, and I think the canes are good for either 1 year or 2, and then they die off and you have to cut out the dead ones and then fresh ones grow in. As an example, you can see, this one is pretty woody. This is an old dead one. It needs to be cut out. And then there's fresh shoots in here somewhere, so they pop up, every year. Fresh ones, little baby raspberry shoots come up. So that's a constant maintenance process. Fortunately, I've got good neighbors, and they come in here and harvest whatever raspberries they want when I'm not around, and they'll tuck the plants back into their strings so that they grow a little bit more orderly. Again, that's 1 row, another row, and a 3rd row. And we've laid out all this weed stopping fabric. We went and did all our weeding recently. We have to toss out all the dead stuff that we've pulled. But each of these has its own soaker irrigation hose. You can see those lying in the ground. Those were set up here by the previous owners. They did a pretty good job with their gardens. They had kids, and I think they used the kids appropriately as labor to maintain the gardens. We don't have that same luxury, so we have to get out here and crawl around on all 4s and pull out the weeds and make sure everything's set up right. This poly line, is pretty solid stuff. It seems to stand the test of time. It's been here for years, and we haven't really had to do much with it. It's, again, that Rainbird product that I mentioned in another video. So that's the raspberries and the strawberries. There's chives at the ends of a couple of these raspberry rows. Those are nice to use for baked potatoes. There's a ton of open space in the middle here, which you can see this is all dead. I had tarped that successfully last year. Unfortunately, I didn't tie the tarp down, and you can see the line where the tarp folded over from the wind, and I got a bunch of growth of weeds under there. The rest of it stayed nice and clear, which is great. So I'll re-tarp that and hopefully stake it down a little better this time. But I've got this section here with these fences in the middle, which I'm gonna, once I clear out all that weed growth and these little trees, whatever those are, stick some green beans in there and walk away and hope for the best. Once again, this is sort of an experiment. We don't know what's gonna work, what's not, but the ground is good. You get a pretty good amount of rain, and I've got irrigation set up with automation that I can hopefully water the stuff enough that I'll come back in a little bit and find some green beans and other things growing. So that is our garden. Give you a quick overview just so you can see. I haven't taken the measurements, but I think each one of these sections of fence is about 8 feet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I would guess you were looking at a garden that's about 50 feet long, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6 or 7. So it's not quite square. I'd say it's probably 50 feet by 30 feet or so. Pretty good amount of space. Hopefully we'll turn into something productive. And one of the nice things here in Palmer, Alaska is there's a farmer's market during the summer and in the fall, and anybody can go in and sell their stuff. And I think we might get into that, start selling some of the produce from the garden, whatever we decide we don't want to eat or can, and see if we can turn that into a little bit of a simple revenue stream.